Hello, I'm Thomas Reiner, the Lean Farmer, and welcome to another exciting video. Got two improvements to show you. One of them is an awesome grain bend improvement, and I can't tell you how excited about that. That one's awesome. So check it out. All right, so if you watch this channel, you know that I'm a lean maniac, and when it comes to lean, you have value added and non-value added. And value added is when you change the form, fit, or function of something, and then everything else is non-value added. So today we're gonna be talking about getting grain, and from a value added perspective, the only thing that is value added when I go get grain is when grain gets in the bucket. Everything else is waste. So in the 8 wastes are you overproduce, you move all that stuff around, you get defects, you do a lot of over processing because of the defects, you have wasted motion. Then number 6, you transport that stuff all around. And 7, you have people waiting. And then 8 is wasted in potential. And so whenever you watch a process, you need to be looking for those 8 wastes and figure out how can you get rid of those 8 wastes. So check out what I have observed about the way we get grain to feed all of our animals and the waste associated with it. So this process has a lot of waste of motion and over processing. Bending over inside of the grain bin is waste of motion. Having to take the top off is waste of motion. The only thing is value added is when that grain enters the bucket, but everything else is waste of motion, even putting the top back on. All right, so I'm really excited about this improvement. The grain bins have kind of frustrated me for a while, and I'm ready to do something different. I basically ordered this little piece of equipment. It's normally used for RVs, but we're gonna use it for something different. So you can probably get a little bit of an idea of what I'm gonna try to do with this. So I've basically lined it up where I want it, and I'm going ahead and drilling my holes. This kit did not actually come with any washers, but I'm adding a series of washers to the install. So when I put these bolts in, I didn't like how they seated up. So I'm gonna throw in the washers, and that'll hopefully help it out. Now I specifically put mine on so that the nut was down here on the bottom, so that later, if I ever needed to tighten this up, I didn't have to go into the bottom side of the trash can, crawl through it, or have a whole bunch of grain in there I had to do something with. I could get to the nut right there. All right, now I just gotta cut my hole out that the grain will eventually fall out of. So now I got my hole. Should work great. Now for the next step. All right, so I just took some scraps for my prototype and put together this stand that the grain can will now sit on. And I'll show you it sitting on there in a second. But you can see I got some side rails to keep it from shifting from side to side. And I have the back rail so you know where to position it and it won't move on you each time. And then I've got a little opening here, which will be where you can grab the handle and pull it. All right, so there is the grain bin sitting on the stand. Again, you can see I got to stop so it can't go back too far. Got the rails on each side so it doesn't shift that way. And then you got it set up where you can reach right here, grab your handle, and pull it open. And then the grain will fall out. And you close the handle when you fill the bucket up. Okay, so I designed this one. So a big bucket, big horse bucket will go into there. We have smaller versions of the horse bucket that will easily fit into there. Also designed it so that a 5-gallon bucket will go into there. So if I want to use something like this in the future for hog feed, that will make it easy. So that by far is one of my favorite improvements that I've ever made up here on the farm. We use those grain bins all the time. And so Toyota, whenever they do an improvement, they're trying to get a 50% improvement. So we were able to basically go from 20 seconds to under 10 seconds. And that may seem small, but that's the beauty of 2-second lean and lean, is you make a lot of small improvements and they add up over time. And that will be a huge help on the farm. So we love Kaizen foam, and my son Tommy, he used Kaizen foam to lay out all of his knives, and it was a great improvement. I think it looks awesome. Oh, that is so cool. We caught him eating a worm. Yeah, he's eating a worm. He's like, you're bothering my breakfast, man. All right, so heading down to the bridge. In one of the spring storms, we had a big rock get washed up and block one of the drain pipes. So now that the water level's low, got a little bridge work to do. So today I'm down here trying to work on this big rock, and one of the last big rains shifted. I think it came off the bank here and fell right in front of one of the major drains. So I gotta see if I can bust that thing up to open up the drain better. Now here's a good side-by-side comparison of after on the left and before on the right.
Oh, and then leave it. What is it, Mimi?